After the first session that was dominated by the Australian batsmen, the Indian bowlers have made a comeback in the second session. We're talking about day one of the second test match between India and Australia. That's the scorecard for you. 145 for 3, I beg your pardon, 70 for Harris, 50 for Finch. That was the opening stand that the two of them had. But now the wickets have come. Jasprit Bumrah picking up that one wicket. Vihari also with another one. So that's been a comeback for the Indian bowlers. That wicket we'll talk about, which is spinner gone for India. And I'll ask the spinner, that bounce that he got would make any fast bowler proud.
Absolutely. I think why fast bowler? Spinner proud. Because just to go and rip that glove off was just unbelievable. Out of the ordinary. You would have never thought, because he's a part-timer. He's not somebody who seems to be giving a rip. It's more like getting the length right, doing a job for the skipper, and then just literally a snorter to take the glove, and everyone was taken by surprise. In fact, I thought that the way Rishabh Pant and the proximity to the ball, his lid was in danger as well.
Okay, I'll take that to Damien Martyn. I mean, Nathan Lyon sitting in the dressing room, he'd be licking his lips in anticipation, looking at that particular delivery from a part-time off-spinner at Hanuma Vihari.
Yes, it gives him some hope in this test match. And look, the wicket's started to play a few tricks now, hasn't it? The cracks, there's a few cracks there as well with that weather coming in, and certainly a different pitch to we saw the first session. But also, the great Shane Warne used to love bowling at the whacker. He loved the bounce, and he wanted the ball to bounce and turn and jump and kick. So and for Kohli, what a great way, part-timer in a sense, comes on, gets a wicket. He says it's a bonus, and they pick up 3 wickets this session.
I'm calling him a part-time off-spinner, which he is, but he's really spinning the ball, which you see from a regular off-spinner, giving it the rip, Hanuma Vihari. Is that surprising for you, looking at the way he's bowling?
No, I think he didn't spin the ball so much. He was extracting the bounce. Even the one which he got Harris out, it was almost like a seam-up delivery. But the important thing there was the length. He bowled the ball up, and because of which, while Harris would try to play the shot on the back foot, but that was not a short pitch delivery. Keeping in mind that you're playing in Perth, a batsman would set up more to play on the back foot than on the front foot against the spinner, because even a front foot ball or a good length ball, you can play a short square of the wicket on the back foot against a spinner. But I think he works hard on his bowling, even when he plays for Andhra, when he plays first class cricket. In fact, one of the reasons why he was drafted into that playing 11 ahead of Karun Nair was that he can do the 5th bowler job, So I think it's great to see, because in the top 6 of this Indian team, not many players bowl. We've seen Vijay bowl in Adelaide. Now we are seeing Vihari bowl. And it's very important for them to practice that when they're doing the net sessions.
Would Virat be thinking now maybe a spinner wouldn't have been a bad idea?
Hindsight is always a good teacher.
Oh, it surely is. But going ahead in this test match?
I seriously feel you will need it. Look, it's like you need a fast bowler. Even when the wicket's spinning, you need the odd one to do something. And that's one of the reasons why a spinner is always required. You're not just thinking short-sighted and just thinking first day. If there are some cracks, if there is some unevenness on the surface, and if there's going to be some bit of spin for Nathan Lyon, you definitely want the spinner. And also, look, you have to remember that he takes a big load off the seamers by doing a job, and there's a reason why a spinner is picked.
The Damien Martyn mentioned about that cracks coming into the pitch, the way that particular ball when Harris was batting stayed so low. Now the batsmen sitting in the dressing room, it will play on their mind.
Oh, it will definitely play, because you don't expect that in Perth, in Australia, where you can trust the bounce, trust the pace, especially on the first day. We've seen at the Waka wicket also, as the match progresses, as you start batting on the 3rd day, 4th day, then the cracks widen, and then there is uneven bounce, there's lateral movement of the wicket whenever the ball lands on the edge of that crack, but not on the first day, second session. So that will create a lot of doubts, especially it's okay to take off, which usually happens when the ball lands on the crack, whereas here the ball didn't even bounce, so that will definitely just awaken the batsman, and now, but the important thing which happened immediately, the next delivery was Paul Harris was looking to play got his leg out, looking to drive through the offside, and that's going to be the way for the batsman. You have to always look, even though you're playing on the fast bouncy wicket, you always have to be prepared for the full ball. The moment you do that, the balance as far as batsman is concerned will be perfect. Then you can also play your back foot shots as well.
As coaches would tell every batsman, just forget the ball that's gone by, look at the ball that's going to be coming next. And that's exactly what Harris did. He eventually got those 70 runs for his team. Talking about the pitch, we've got someone else enjoying this test match. He goes by the name of Sachin Tendulkar, and this is what he had to tweet. I feel the wicket is quickened up a bit, and as time goes by, it will only become harder and have more pace and bounce. I take that question to Damien, and this is something that, we heard Michael Clarke also earlier in the day. I was listening to him. He was also of the opinion that day 2 onwards, it's going to get tougher for batting. Now that you've seen the pitch over the 2 sessions, is that the feeling that you're getting to?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely going to get quicker. I suppose with the drop in wickets, you're just not sure where it's prepared and how, in the sense that, as you see now, there's a green tinge over the wicket, but there's some dark green sort of over the cracks a little bit. Now, with the weather in Perth, that's always a factor. They can put as much moisture in the wicket, before the game to try and keep it together. But 5-day cricket, it's going to happen, and we're just seeing now, like the last hour there's just some odd things starting to happen. The ball was moving off the wicket a bit more, bit of different bounce, with that wicket off Harris as well. So, look, it's that's going to be tough. And I look at that now and I go, well, batting first was a move that was sort of. It was aggressive, saying, look, the wicket looks green, but we're going to bat first, because maybe batting last now is going to be tough depending on how this wicket, goes over the next few days. Okay,
well, one thing is the pitch is behaving differently. The other, have you noticed, and this is something we spoke about after lunch, the lengths that the Indian bowlers were bowling, has that changed?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a conscious effort to definitely go slightly fuller. Yeah, at the what happens when you do that is that you can go for a few boundaries, which happened to Shami and a few other bowlers, but you need to persist with it, and then you find your optimal length. Then you realize what's doing from where, and then that's why India was the Indian attack. I think definitely they would have gone back to the drawing board those 40 minutes during lunchtime. This is what we did well in. You've got so many able heads sitting outside. This is what we did well in Adelaide, and this is what we didn't do in this first session on a surface which could have offered us a bit more. I think we need to hit our straps once again.
Okay, let's take a look at the stats as well. Are they supporting what the naked eye saw, that better lengths were hit by the Indian bowlers? And that's where you have the first session compared to the second session. A lot more short of good length is something that I can see. That's a major difference. The good length roughly remains the same, but short of good length, they've improved. Is it, that's what, VVS, I'll come to you. Is it then different, the way you judge length, different based on the conditions that are on offer on the pitch?
Yeah. So with the naked eye, what you judge, sometimes as Kartik mentioned in the lunch break, as a statistician, you don't know what they're entering. When they're mentioning as good length, sometimes it can be full length as well. The fuller length of the good length area. Yeah. But having said that, I was very impressed with the discipline. And discipline comes with not only length but also the lines. We've seen before the first session this morning where the runs were also given on the onside, whereas all the runs, majority of the runs were through the offside, and also the way they used the bouncer, the short pitch delivery, which was also good to see, because when the batsmen are set, as we discussed, that both Harris and Finch want to go out and play freely. So it was very important to make sure that you're disciplined, and which exactly what Shami, Bumrah, and I was really impressed with the way even Umesh came back strongly in the lunch session, post-lunch session.
Okay, I'll talk to Damien about Usman Khawaja, him not getting a lot of runs. Before that, quick word, that drop catch, KL Rahul, was it a catch for you, not a catch for you?
No, it was a catch, but a tough one. Because it was flying, and that's what you expect when you're doing, you're fielding in slips. It's also important to know how far are you from the wicket, because here sometimes, because you can trust the bounce, not that there was one delivery which didn't bounce, but because you can trust the bounce, and because majority of the times the ball will carry, even when the batsmen are playing with soft hands, you have to just adjust the distance from the wicket.
The other thing, because he was playing a cut shot, maybe the ball traveled a little more than it would have.
And also with the bounce, it starts leaving you. Then you obviously make that leap, and if you get to it, you get to it. It's always leaving you. So it was a tough one.
Yeah, so that drop chance of Harris, but I'm going to now get to Usman Khawaja. Damien, to you, do you sense a lack of confidence in Usman Khawaja? He was picked as one of the star performers, especially with David Warner, Steve Smith around. He was supposed to shoulder all the burden, but that hasn't happened for him in this series so far.
No, he hasn't got going yet in the series, and I think like any series you're playing, as everybody knows, you want to start making runs or taking wickets to feel you get into it. So, now this Test match, and look, he just looked out of sorts today. I think one thing Justin Langer would be telling them, and what he did so well was just patience and bat as long as you can, early on, get in. I mean, it's very hard on these wickets to come straight in and just start playing shots. You work your way into it, and the game gets easier the longer you bat. And we see there, Khawaja 5 of 38 deliveries, and it just felt he was getting frustrated and couldn't get going. And then he tries to force something which he probably shouldn't have, tried to do. A bit close to him, bit of bounce, and without being in there a long time, then he's out. So, he'll feel disappointed by that, but he just has to give himself a bit more time at the crease to feel the wicket and get into the game.
He's a touch player,
Okay.
and after the Dubai Test match, he had a knee operation, and for a touch player, rhythm is very important. You didn't see that rhythm even in the Adelaide Test match. He batted okay in the first innings, but second innings he again struggled, which forced him to play a loose shot, and he got out to Ashwin. And even here, he was struggling to time the ball. He was struggling to get into good position. So I think when the batsman is going through that kind of a phase, it's very important to rotate the strike. The lesser the balls you face and you're at the non-striker and you allow the set batsman like Aris to take the strike, and then the more time you spend at the wicket, suddenly the rhythm will come back. So I just felt that he was not able to even rotate the strike, which probably led to his downfall.
The other bit that was there, Finch getting out, he got to that 50, that first, sort of a landmark that you need to bring that confidence back. Yet, he was that batsman you thought you could always get out. He could get out the next ball.
Yeah, sometimes it's your past which precedes you and gives you an inkling that this is what's going to happen. And if the same was said about Aaron Finch in one-day cricket, you wouldn't say that because he's an absolute dasher. He's got good numbers to back it up. But right now in Test cricket, those aren't there. And that's one of the reasons why you get a feeling, and especially after the first Test, both innings, he was nearly out in the second innings as well, if not for a no ball. So that gives you a feeling. It gives you a sense of anticipation as a bowler that, I've got the wood on him, I'll get him. But today, look, you have to give credit where it's due. It was hard-working innings from him. He needed it to resurrect his own career, which he did. But again, a full delivery, a good delivery, got rid of him. But hats off to Aaron Finch for doing what he did.
Okay, a quick word on Harris as well, Damien. We were praising his patience on the crease, the way he was leaving the ball, and then that lapse of concentration. Do you think there's a problem there? His natural game sometimes takes over, that of flashing outside the off stump?
No, I think we saw those big cover drives. He likes to play square of the wicket, doesn't he? And he had a few played and miss. And, you're listening, over here, Alan Border was sort of saying they're the sort of shots that you sort of just got to put in the cupboard for a while when you open the batting and you get your innings going to really make big scores. And but, he's young at that. He needs to learn that game. He's made big scores in first-class cricket. It's now just coming to Test cricket and maybe, wanting to get on with his 70. He wants to get on, get that 100. And the delivery got out to, even though it did bounce, and, it was extreme sort of different bounce. It was probably too close to cut. Let's say the ball's not spinning, it's going to bounce and come on quick and, just cramped him up. So I think you can say, yes, it's odd bounce, but still probably just the wrong shot selection.
Yeah, the shot selection was the issue there for Harris. Okay, we've got a question coming in from someone who's watching our telecast. I wouldn't want to call him a fan necessarily. Foma wants to know, we can already see marks created on the pitch advantage line, and this is something that I asked at the start. I'll throw this to the spinner.
Yeah, he's always going to be in play. He's such a fabulous bowler. Even if there's not too much on offer, there are certain types of spinners who are flat track spinners, and there are good track spinners, green track spinners. He's one of them because of what he does with the ball, that sense of anticipation every time he bowls. So if you give him something more than what is there on offer, obviously he's going to grasp it with both hands.
Okay.
Not one hand alone.
Okay, completely out of time, but before that, we'll take a look at Fab 4. This is our very own fantasy league. Let's see how the three of them are performing. We're starting with Murali Kartik once again. I think he's the leader of the pack. He was the leader of the pack in the previous session that we discussed. Khawaja just gave him 5 points, but it's that man there, Marcus Harris, with a total of 80. 10, of course, is the bonus for him reaching 50. So 105 points there for Murali Kartik. Okay, let's see who's up next. We got VVS. He had picked Khawaja too, 5 points there. 20 points for Jasprit Bumrah. Oh, that was a smart choice.
I got to a quick 100. I got to a quick 100 before tea. Sorry.
By tea.
Okay, Jasprit Bumrah was always expected to bring you points. You had to pick him. He was one of those guys you needed to pick. Okay, Damien Martyn. Let's see the local lad. How's he performing? Sean Marsh with 8 points, Hanscom with 4 points. He could of course add to that tally. Still both of them are on the crease, so that could go well beyond 12 points. So I'm sure Damien would be keeping his big last session coming up, as Damien is saying. So this is our leaderboard at the moment. Murali Kartik right on top there with 105 points. VVS doing not that badly. I believe the first test match didn't go according to plan, was it? But did you do great in that first
I
test
did
match?
well till the fourth day. And then the last day I just lost it.
What happens? But it started well. Plenty of action still to come. You are watching ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. It is tea time at the moment, and India have picked up 3 wickets after going wicketless in that first session. VVS Laxman, Murali Kartik and Damien Martyn, thanks so much for joining us. In about 2 hours from now, we'll be back with these gentlemen. We'll look back on day 1 of the Perth Test match.